how we want to start this session is to turn it to you guys and to see what is your connection with your voice and what had happened. How do you connect with your voice? Do you feel like you have a beautiful voice, or do you dare to sing often, or has there been some persuasions that were persuading you that you have an awful voice and you don't dare to express it? Or what is your connection with your own voice right now? What are the magical powers of your voice that you're using at this moment?
Or speaking in general, you know, because it's not only about singing, it's how you express. Do you dare to say your truth? Can you freely express yourself, what you mean, or do you have to kind of manage it? Are your words overwhelming others? So what is it? How is it coming out through your expression?
Yeah. So Miriam, you wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yes, as you know, I had a kind of interesting journey with my throat, driving into the kite wire like 2 months ago now. And before that, my voice was, when I would sing, it was cracking more and more. And I remember you saying, Victor, I don't care how your voice was. It's beautiful. But for me, it was very frustrating that it was like cracking and I couldn't sing very well anymore. And so when this happened, I knew, okay, this is an initiation into something else. And I feel the difference. And after, well, I shared in the other group, I think, after singing with Anne and Sylvia at the river, at the Green Spirit, and I really opened my voice and whatever came out, from the next day on, when I was singing, all of a sudden, wow, my voice is open and the crack is gone. And so, yeah, so the singing voice came back, and I really love my voice with singing. And in speaking, I realize I speak more and more my truth, more and more dare to speak out instead of holding back and making my conclusions in whatever situation. And am I also able to choose the timing more better, you know, like when I'm very triggered, I think, oh, this is not a good time to speak up because there's something really triggered me. But then when I look into that and coming back, then sometimes, you know, after a while, I would say to the person, can I share this with you? Because I was so triggered. So I'm speaking up more. I don't let go, but not always in the moment when it happens, because it, you know, there's something really needs to come out. And actually this morning was very beautiful. I did the meditation from Pepe, the music, and I felt my throat kind of as if it was inflamed, you know, that it's like pumping, and my lungs were as if there was also something there. And automatically I started doing this and pulling it out, what I sometimes do when I give sessions, you know, with another person. And I realized, wow, I'm doing it with myself now, and pulling whatever was in the way, I pulled it out, and immediately my throat felt much wider and looser and healthy again. So that was also interesting, yeah. So healing myself a little bit. Okay, that's my sharing.
Oh, thank you, Miriam. Yes, I remember that incident, and it was absolutely beautiful how your voice activated completely after that. Wow, yes, super powerful. Yes, Girgana.
Hey everyone again. Yes, I feel like I haven't yet connected to the power of my voice. I don't know if anyone else would relate to that, but I've never actually sung. I dare to say that I've never sung. But every now and then I would hear a particular singing particular style or particular person. And I would be so overwhelmed by the energy of energy that I don't even know. Like my whole body would open up and tears would just flood down my face. And during one catharsis moment in the last few years, when I have been on this soul searching journey, the dark night of the soul, whatever we call it, I remember going to my diary and writing in handwriting that I could hardly recognize as my own afterwards. I will sing again before I die. And in the last few years, I've been living with my mother, and I started having some memories. And I remember walking with her, with my brother and her, being a little child, and she's telling me, and I'm asking her, Mom, do you think I can sing? And she says to me, no, you can't sing. And I say, can my brother sing? And she says, yes, he can sing, but you cannot sing. And I never remembered this until a couple of years ago. And I started to connect with the fact that my voice has always been so closed and so weak. Not only I cannot sing, but I felt like I cannot speak. I cannot even scream for my life if I ever needed to. And recently, I became aware of this, and I've been consciously working with it, trying to connect, and decided that I need to go through a period of being quiet, almost to not use it at all, so that I can dip into the power of it. Because I almost feel like I'm speaking with someone else's voice, not mine. And interestingly, when I work with clients as well, the first thing when somebody walks into the room, I notice their voice. I started to notice their voice. Something in me says, oh, she's not actually speaking with her own voice, or I can feel this from the voice more than from the body. And I began to realize that the voice is like a container of our spirit as much as our body is. And there is so much power in it, but yet for myself, I am not connected with it yet. So I'm using and I'm reaching out for any ideas, any help that I can do that. Not only in singing, I would love to be able to sing, although I still deep in me don't feel like I could ever do that. It's one of my biggest wishes. But interestingly, in one of the spiritual books that I've read lately, one phrase stuck out, and that's, we pay for each word energetically, only singing is for free. And I know singing carries that specific energy. I guess what you guys maybe will be sharing with us today. But yeah, I think this is my sharing. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Gergana. Thank you so much for.
Yeah, and you're totally not the only one. I mean, so many people can relate to this, and of something being told at a very sensitive age, which just kind of puts the stamp for life. And yeah, there are ways to get past it. And of course, we can't just say, oh, you open the mouth and sing, what's the big deal? I know that this is not about, it's not possible. For some people, it's really not possible to just open the mouth and sing. It just doesn't work like that. So we'll examine what needs to be unlocked first.
Exactly. Because those wounds that have been inflicted upon you on that sensitive age are not actually the wounds in the throat chakra. They are wounds lower down in your power chakra, in your root chakra, in your sacral chakra. This is where those, Pepe was really great at the last session. He said, don't ever say to anyone that you cannot sing. If you say, this should be punishable by law, that should carry certain prison term. If you say to anyone that you cannot sing, because you are scarring them for life, and then they'll have to, everybody can sing. And the only thing that they're going to have to do is to go through the healing first, to open up. So it's very similar to my jazz professor saying that the persons who fail the rhythm go directly to hell. So you're not supposed to fail the rhythm, or you're not supposed to say it to anyone that they cannot sing. So we totally can understand, and you're not alone unfortunately, a lot of us, including Evia, she will share how she was scarred like that, the same way in her voice. Thank you. Who else would like to share their connection with their own voice? Yes, Eve, please.
Hi. As a child, I've got endless amounts of video footage. You know, my mother having me perform and, you know, singing Hungarian songs and lots of video footage. And then, to be honest, I was such a little performer. You know, like I loved being center of stage, like center of the audience, and yeah, I thrived in it. But then I'm not sure really what happened, because then it really went, it just died. I have no recollection of any particular memory of any that what maybe created some some ungrounding, because you know the thought of singing in public, you know, just drained the life out of my body. And I guess since starting, you know, a spiritual journey, I've noticed that I've actually gained a lot of confidence back, because I guess my chakras are starting to align now. And like, I remember, like, even like, I think it was like last year, I was on a camping trip with some friends, and, you know, I launched into something from The Sound of Music, you know, one of my childhood favorite movies. I swear Julie Andrews actually taught me to sing, you know, with like following her. And yeah, I was like really surprised, and everyone was like looking and go, oh my God, you can sing. And I was like, I can't believe I was even brave. You know, it's really interesting when suddenly we're like, where does it suddenly just align, and then you can actually sing again. And yeah, and I play a lot with toning as well. I got really curious about that. And, you know, I actually did some vocal training with a lady in Hawaii. I didn't really continue with it. I don't know why. We left Australia and life just kind of took over. And yeah, she was really positive about my voice and everything. These days, I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to do anything with it, but I do love to knock out a few sounds every now and again. And I'm definitely feeling a lot more centered, that I can actually, there's a more confidence, which is really lovely, just to see how that just organically corrected itself with all the other work that I'm, you know, doing. So, you know, yeah. And interestingly, I don't know if this is like some kind of made up biological thing, but I read somewhere once, or someone told me once, that the first, when, you know, like when a baby's formed, when a cell starts to like divide, the heart's obviously one of the first things that gets, that's the beginning, but the first part to grow off the heart is a tongue, supposedly. So I always found that really beautiful, that, you know, that because you learn to speak from your heart. And yeah, and even if it's not true, I think it's beautiful to think that it is. So yeah.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. Yes, but you bring up the great point. It's that as children, we all knew how to sing. You know, what was the problem? Of course, that was the power that we have exercised the most, because, you know, when we wanted food, we would scream. When we wanted to go out, we would scream. When we wanted to go in, we would scream. The only way to actually communicate before learning language was by actually screaming. And we all know this, you know, babies screaming off of their lung is their only way to get the attention. So they have practiced operatic singing from really very, very early age. So we have really gotten out that power while we were very, very, very young.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering, I was in the airport the other day, and there was a child screaming in a giant airport, you know, one child screaming, and it could be heard at any other point of the airport. And I thought, what happens with that voice because an adult wouldn't be able to fill the whole giant airport room with a scream. And I was really wondering what happens in between, that we lose that frequency that pierces through the walls and carries 4 kilometers.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, because my son, actually can do this unbelievably high-pitched sound. And when I reflect back to when he was very small, you know, you do as a parent, like you shush, you know, stop making that noise, or you know. And I noticed my daughter as well. I'm so grateful to be, you know, moving in these types of circles, because you're becoming more aware of the noises that are coming out of them. Like my daughter, she makes up songs, but it sounds like she's speaking a different language. And it's only just occurred to me, it's like she's actually speaking light language. That's what I'm assuming now. And now I'm encouraging her. I'm like, oh, keep, you know, you're speaking the language from your planet, you know. So it's about encouraging our little ones to, you know, and my child's this high-pitched sound, like, I'm not kidding, like, you know, it is piercing. And we were walking on a walk a few weeks ago, and my dog started to like have this huge altercation with this other dog, and it was getting really like, I mean, they were behind a fence, but it got really like strong, this dissonance between these two dogs. And my child just intuitively, like, I didn't do it, I was like trying to pull the dog back, and he just let out this, and literally the dog just went and then just ran off, like it was so piercing and it just diffused the situation. It was like a big gong. I mean, it was amazing. But the fact that he knew to do it was, yeah, but it's been fun playing with it and encouraging him to do it more, because he feels a sense of like pride that he has this ability. And yeah, like, it's just playing with that inner child again, I think, and letting them make all their crazy sounds.
Wow, even if you would record your daughter actually speaking that light language, that would be amazing, because, you know, she might forget it later on. So, wow, yeah, thank you for adding this. This is amazing. How wise are the children before we tell them shush and stop and, you know, all this. Wow, thank you. How about yes, Anna?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so my voice, oh my God, it's something I really never thought about. And then a few years back, I went to a dance, like kind of like trance dance. And then at the end of the dance, there was like this silence for quite a prolonged time. And then they asked everyone to say, like to say something, you know, like I am or whatever. And then I noticed nothing came out. Like, it was like completely blocked. I couldn't say in this silence, and like knowing that everyone listens, I just couldn't make a sound. It was terrible, really. And then, okay, I did, after that, I did the yoga teacher training. So we started singing mantras. So I guess it became better. But just recently in this big journey I was mentioning a few times, there came a moment where I actually started looking for my voice, like consciously, where is it and what happened to it? Because what I noticed is that I would never actually record myself, because I didn't like the sound of my own voice. So whenever I would write messages, or whenever someone asked me to like record something, I would really avoid it at all costs. And then only after this last journey, I actually recorded my first voice message to a friend, and I listened to it, and I wasn't embarrassed by the sound of my own voice. I don't know where it came from, where it comes from. I really don't know, because apart from maybe that I was never asked, you know, like in a family, you got to be quiet, right? So that's the way I grew up. Like, they never asked me for my opinion. They never asked me how I felt, what I needed. So it wasn't appreciated that the child actually says something. I love singing, but then I grew up convinced that I kind of still believe it, that I don't have the voice capacity to actually sing nicely. I still do, but rather for myself. Yeah, so that's a whole new field, I guess, to be discovered and freed, because I know how important it is. And really, it just comes now that I start connecting to the importance of actually claiming my own voice and connecting with it, and then using it, hopefully from the heart, right? Like the journey we now make together.
Yeah. Thank you, Anna.
And
Yeah.
important that you're saying your own voice, yeah, because even though it looks like we're one person, so whose else voice could it be? But you have noticed that sometimes you speak with a voice of a character, voice of an inner personality, and it's not always the same voice or the same speed of speaking or even the same words. So there are many inner characters that gladly take the mic and speak in it. So the own voice is really something to be looked for and recognized and brought up. When all the other voices are silenced, then the actual original voice has space to even appear.
Mhm. And even then, when we connect with that original voice, then the higher voice can actually come and borrow that and speak through it, so that we can have even that connection. But so much needs to be cleared. And one of the first things is exactly what you're saying. I don't like the sound of my voice. So this is one of the easy and first traps. And that's that the way that we perceive our recorded voice and the way that we perceive our own voice are different, because simply when you speak, your skull vibrates. So you hear it in a certain way. And of course, when it's recorded, it's going to sound different to you, but not to anyone else, because everybody else hears it from outside of your skull. You're the only one who's hearing it from your skull. So if we are tuned into looking for imperfections, which we are, then this is, it checks, this is an imperfection. It's different than how I hear it. I don't like it. So, that's the first thing to go. The child doesn't think how it's going to be perceived. It just, screams and chases that dog away, like Eve's kid. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's a very common one. So yeah, I wanted to reflect on it immediately. Anyone else would like to share? Yes, Zane.
Yes, hi. So I think my most of my problems is all around the voice and communication and everything like that. I'm professional of speaking or wrong thing or the right thing in the wrong moment, and then to get ready to share even here every time I have to deal with myself. And then of course I can relate with I know, like she said, that listening to yourself, it's like I was trying also to avoid any cost, usually any voice message, any video where I have to speak, or anything where I have to speak, because sometimes when I hear my voice messages, I think like, wow, how even people respond to me when I hear this voice. That's how judgmental I'm about my voice.
Thank you, Zane. So wonderful to hear. Yeah, because it sounds different than in your skull. So yeah, but we love your voice, by the way. So yeah, Hannah.
Brief reflection. So I think I always liked singing and my voice, like the self-judgment, I'm very strong on it, but I never had it around my voice. But I had many years where I was very quiet. Like I wouldn't sing in public. I would sing alone. I was very, very quiet, wouldn't speak up. And just by taking my yoga teacher training and starting to give classes, I always got a lot of feedback around my voice, that it would be so calming and soothing. And I started chanting in the end of the classes. And then again, it kind of touched people. And so, as you know, like I've cultivated that quite a bit over the last 6-8 years. And coming to the point where I would say I'm a singer, like there were so many different stages where I had to overcome certain inner blockages. Like this whole thing around singing with microphones, I used to be so upset with it because I didn't like it. Made me feel uncomfortable, or the microphone was way too quiet, and then I always had to struggle. And finding that freedom. Like usually when I sing, I feel so free, and it's like I don't know, I feel an inner nudge to go somewhere. It's like going from high to low. It's just like an inner feeling which I follow. And it was difficult in the beginning to have that same freedom when I had the microphone. And yeah, it's quite nice. Just yesterday, I went to sing with Luciana at the cacao ceremony in Canggu. We all were set up with mics, and it was beautiful. Like the mic system was perfectly balanced, and it's nice to reflect now that it was, to me, like singing here in the bed. It was like such a free feeling, and I loved it, and in harmony with everyone else. And it's actually nice to sing and express and don't judge yourself. And I think yeah, we all can reach that. And so I hope that this is the vibration that I can share with people here tonight. And yeah, encourage everyone to sing, because for me that's the moment when I feel harmony, like literally inside out, harmonizing with the other voices of the music. So I feel the harmony inside. It's kind of interacting with each other.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing from the other side of the tunnel, because most of us are stuck on the in the beginning or in the middle of the tunnel of trying to find that freedom and harmony. So yeah, I hope you can infuse the vibe of vocal freedom.
Well, and not just at this session. Of course, we are grateful if you do it at this session, but actually what comes up when you're saying that is it's such a point of struggle for people that how about if you actually develop a little workshop that actually liberates people's, like that gives them the sense of their freedom, allows them to be in that freedom first in order to feel it, and then to actually start creating from there. I mean, you would be very competent to do that, and it would be so helpful. And we have a platform where that could already be shared. So it's actually everything is in place. If you just give it a thought, that would be great. Yeah. Anyone else? And yeah, if not, we can. Yeah, Jave, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Is that cool?
Of course, it's very welcome.
Very welcome.
Musician, of course.
Musician. See, this is the trick. When they're musicians and we're reasonably proficient or really good at it, we can hide behind our instruments, which I think is something I did from a young age, because being classically taught and what have you, so I was a bit of a show pony from a young age, which was also a kind of double-edged sword. It was great to be able to do things, and on other times I really didn't enjoy sort of being pushed into the limelight and kind of being made to, perform in front of people when I didn't feel like it. And I was never big on the voice anyway. And I think so over the years playing in bands and things, I sort of just played instruments, but I was very reluctant to sing, thinking that I didn't really have a great voice. And then people pointed out to me two things, which like really kind of flipped it. And they said, well, anybody that can speak can sing. And I sort of thought, well, okay, yeah, sure. But, great voice, shitty voice, whatever. And then they sort of said, hey, check out a lot of the very famous, very talented, very popular people in music. And he said, most of them have got shitty voices. He said, most of them don't have great voices. But the thing is, what they do with it is quite unique. And whatever it is that they've got or they've been born with, they manage to showcase in such a way that it actually makes them unique. And I started actually researching a lot of the greatest singers, supposedly, and it was kind of true. A lot of them don't have great voices, and a lot of them don't sing on key all the time and stuff, but yet the whole performance and the whole package that they put across, and I guess the confidence too, is what kind of really sort of does it. So, and because I didn't think I'd had a really melodic voice, I gradually started incorporating more chanting and like toning and things like that, which is something Sylvie does a lot of, which I really like, because you don't have to use words. And I realize words can be such a vulgar estimate at times. And you say one word and 5 different people have a different version of what you mean or what you think you're alluding to or whatever. And it's just such an approximation. But yet when you're toning and it's just making sounds that are not actually suggestive or trying to steer anything. So I started sort of doing a bit of that and actually found a lot of freedom with it, and actually just doing spoken word and sort of mixing the spoken word with a little bit of singy kind of stuff. So it's not like singing, but it's kind of singy talking and stuff. And so it's just a matter of finding something that you're comfortable with and actually sounds fine, rather than trying to thinking, being this kick-ass singer or something, which I have no aspirations to whatsoever. So anyway, so that's kind of my trip. But as the time's gone on, I've just got, and I think confidence is the thing, and trying things that suit you, because standard singing doesn't, I think, suit everybody. Look at a lot of the rappers; they couldn't sing, to save themselves, and a lot of them do need saving. But anyway, that's another story. And they get away with it there's so many different ways that you can actually do it and just slur the ends of your sentences and make it a bit singy and whatever, and it comes across like, oh man, you're a great singer, oh dude. And it's like, no, I'm just talking and slurring the ends of the sentences or whatever. So there's many different ways you can kind of approach it, but anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, that's kind of me. But I prefer to be with someone actually that can sing really well, to be honest, and I can just sort of be in the background a little, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, but it is such a point, because I was never very confident with the voice. Playing instruments, I was always cool with that, but when it came to singing, it's just like, yeah. So, but yeah, that's all about expression too, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Guys, I'm so amazed. Thank you, Jive, so much. I'm so amazed with the amount of wisdom that we have here each time that we open up for hearing your life experiences. The amount of wisdom that we have here among us is just tremendous. It just humbles me so much to hear this coming from all of you. And Javes, it's amazing to hear all those points. We will reflect on so many of them. You touched so many beautiful points. So yeah, we will reflect on many of them. Thank you so much.
So cool to have your perspective back in our little group. It's always so much fun.
Anne has a hand up.
Oh, hello. I guess I was inspired to share after Jive, because I think for me, one of the biggest opening of my voice was actually sounding silly and sounding horrible. So I allowed myself to, play with the voice, and I don't have to sound good. So it just opened up the playfulness and just playing with the vibrations and how it feels in my body. And not caring about how it actually sounds, because that is not the point, at least for me, because I love to do toning and sound. So it opened totally different playground for me, because I also had the experience when I was a child. I loved singing so much, and then everybody said you have a horrible voice, or you sing too loud, or all these things. So yeah, and I'm really looking forward to the time where we don't have to use the words anymore. We just can tone or just look into the eyes, and then we can communicate that way. But yeah, just wanted to share that just being playful and actually sounding horrible, it was the way for me to find more of my voice. So yeah, thank you.
So beautiful. So allowing yourself to sound horrible, which who says what is good and what is horrible. And, you know, to each audience, this kind of ties also to what Jai was saying, you know, singing good or singing bad. Who is the judge? Who is actually, to whose judgments are we actually appealing when we are trying to decide whether our voice is good or not? Whose judgment exactly? Who are we comparing ourselves to? And who do we want to please? Do we want to please an audience? Do we want to please the same audience as Freddie Mercury? Or we have a different audience? Is our audience human or divine? You know, it's all these questions are starting to pop up immediately when we open that topic. To whom we are doing it and why.
And by the way, part of the kind of revolutionary everyone can sing teaching is you start with making like the nastiest sounds and songs possible, like on purpose, as nasty as possible, until that breaks somehow through the barrier of fear of sounding, you know, inappropriate or completely off, and it liberates something deeply where you start allowing it to be. And it's very interesting that how difficult it is to sound bad on purpose, you know, how difficult it is to scream completely off because there's so much control in there. And when it's allowed, even when it's allowed, it's difficult to do that. So, but it's exercise number one. That's the way to go.
Yeah. So, anyone else has a sharing, or we dive into talking about this? Yeah, so I guess we can dive in. So I would like to connect to what Jai was saying, and actually to just reflect that I so can relate with that. And in music, we have people like Louis Armstrong, you know, the trumpet player, the famous trumpet player, who really, you know what his voice was. It was just this raspy, almost like he has a bunch of sand in his throat. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like this. He cannot even properly speak. But the power of his heart and the power of love that he had to share was so like over the quality, the perceived quality of his voice, that he actually started singing, and it was touching so deeply. So really, what level of the throat we have doesn't really have to be at all, in a way, because the power of the heart and emotions that come through us is the number one thing that is important. Through the throat, it just actually connects to the material realm and creates vibrations, and then those vibrations actually then we are able to create and interact. So
yeah, so most of the time the blockages around singing or speaking have nothing to do with the voice at all. They have to do with everything else. So what is it that the voice refuses to transmit, or what is it transmitting, or why it's sounding off? Why do you have judgments? So it's never about the focus is never on singing itself. That's why we can't fix it there. And that's the greatest misunderstanding. Well, you see. So the greatest misunderstanding is trying to fix the voice or learn to sing or do anything around and about the voice. It's not there. Believe me, I've tried. It's not to be solved there, because the voice is just a reflection of some misalignment somewhere else. And when Jai was speaking about the confidence, yeah, it's first chakra, confidence about how well rooted are you in this reality, how much, you know, respect and self-esteem do you have for yourself. And, you know, people who are confident, their voice doesn't tremble. They just say their thing very in a calm way with no judgment. That confidence, that energy from the root, like stable and aware root chakra, is just flowing through. People who are not confident and they're not sure about who they are and what's their place in the earth, they tend to swallow the voice, or it's cracking, or it's small. It's like they're trying to swallow their own voice and try to speak as with as little opening possible, as low and silently as possible, so that nobody sees the tremendous insecurity that's behind. Because if you open the mouth, then it's high chance that somebody will notice the insecurity. But if you say it like a very very small, very like tiny, like people will more guess what you want to say, and it will just pass through. So it's a defense mechanism, and it's useless to train you know, a proper kind of clear and loud speaking if the self-confidence issue hasn't been resolved first.
So yeah, we will talk about these different possibilities of blockages. So this is like a possible block in a root chakra. We start from the bottom. So that's one coping system and mechanism with not being rooted with your right to exist in the world, like Evia is saying. So then we kind of diminish our voice. Another part of where this can swing is, you know, like us Geminis. The Geminis are actually dealing with being overconfident. So, you know, we would just talk too much, and we would, you know, just kind of talk anything that comes to our mind and speak and sing so much that it's like it's coming from the mind, and the mind goes wherever your experiences went at this moment. So we would speak and miss the point so many times because we are just, you know, going with this monkey mind. So that's the opposite problem. It's like you are so much liking to hear your voice that you don't really pay attention to the moment. Is it appropriate, or, you know, is it really coming from the higher guidance? No, you just spit out anything that comes first. So of course that's the other extreme, which then the divine will never speak to us because the mind is taking over and shooting. You know, it's like
Shoot words.
yeah.
It's good if you're a sports comment person, you know, that direct live translates what's happening on the screen, and it's a talent, you know, but in a specific setting.
Yeah. So yeah, these are the both of those ways. And then at the second chakra, as Pepe was mentioning in the course, it's interesting. Second chakra was that place where we are understanding that we are not one with everyone. We are kind of separated. And then many people have had to seduce their parents into, you know, we start seducing our parents into taking care of us because we have to please them in order to get food. So many children were seducing their parents by actually staying quiet. And I know this very well because we had it in my family. My sister would seduce our parents by actually never making a sound because her brother was shouting so much and crying at every moment and spitting so many words that she wanted to be different. So then she was seducing her parents by staying quiet because she sees how irritating it is to them when somebody is too loud. So her extreme was that you know, when she would go to the dentist and had something being done on her teeth, she would so feel the pain. And at that time, dentists were not using anesthesia. It was all like live, you know, anesthesia is just for more important things. you withstand pain of putting the feeling. So she would not create one sound, but the tears would flow. So actually the doctors were wondering if this child actually feels pain. So they had to test if she's actually feeling the pain or just not reacting. And actually she was feeling it, but not reacting in order to seduce the parents into loving her. So that's another thing where our blockages are possibly being stored.
The second chakra is really a big misalignment place for the voice, because we can also speak and sing in a very calculated way to get attention and trying to seduce by what we say, but if it doesn't have a real substance behind, then it's just words. So we kind of are intrigued by the words, but we feel that it's not till the end. Some people say the right thing, but it doesn't land, it doesn't mean much. You have all felt that somebody says, "Oh, I love you so much," and you're like, like you hear the words, but you're not quite sure that they are full. It's like empty bubble crossing, yeah? Because people have learned how to attract attention or get what they want through the voice, using the words, like the right words for the right situation. And so many, I mean, most of song kind of industry or music or performance is based on this needing confirmation, needing appreciation way of singing, which is straight from the second chakra, from a lacking second chakra to the throat, and it bypasses heart and everything else. So it lacks power, it lacks love. That means it's a desperate cry for healing and for attention. Or on the other hand, if it's the underperforming second chakra, it's, well, most of those blocks that you, Anna, as you said, like it's your turn to say something and nothing comes out. I've been there so many times, and it's underperforming second chakra. It's like deep insecurity about not only your place on earth, but about your connection to the others, about belonging. You know, second chakra is about belonging, about the family, about the tribe, about the society, and not being able to speak in public, or, you know, the famous number 3 major planetary fear of public speaking, yeah, which comes way before fear of sharks and spiders and everything else, comes from this inability to be connected to other people, because, you know, we've been somehow denied that possibility of experimenting who we are in a group of people. And we were given straight away, this is what you must be to fit in. You know, when you go to kindergarten, it's not like you can be whoever you want to be. You have to be like everyone else within the rules. And this is where the kids' second chakra goes weird, because they can't, you know, they're kids, they're like 3, 4, 5 years old, and they are being told how they must be when they can speak and when they can't. So all those wounds are happening around that time, especially of not speaking, because a child has no way to understand when is the right moment or not. It speaks and then somehow it learns, you know, the right moment of speaking. But the group setting always puts this pressure of the right moment. And unfortunately, then when you actually have to speak, when you're given the mic in front of the public, then you can't bring up the aspect that could be able to speak, because who is there is the mute one. Yeah, I said that we have many inner aspects that try to express themselves, and there's also the mute aspect, the one that comes and has nothing to say and just blocks everyone else. He grabs the mic and just stays silent. So the way to heal the mute aspect, and it's really to work on the second chakra, on connection to the others and feeling safe with others. If we feel safe with with our partner, with our family, with our immediate kind of friends and society and the world, if we extend our circle of comfort in this world, there will be never fear of saying something wrong, because it's the family. It's funny, on this trip to Crete, I'm with my daughters, and so we haven't been together for quite some time, all of us in one place. And the oldest daughter, she just said yesterday, wow, it's amazing, I can actually say what I think and nobody is judging me, we're all just laughing, and they're teasing each other to death, being sweet and mean at the same time, but and saying what they think, being fully racist or completely off, or they're just saying what they feel like, and they're like excessively speaking because finally they can, and it's such a liberation to be able to be heard, and maximum they'll get a laughter or some comment back, but it's important to establish at least a little group where you can exercise this free speech, even if it's one person, two persons, a little group like this, that you can allow yourself to experiment how it is that you can say something and nothing happens. Nothing bad happens.
I think what we have here, guys, and sometimes it's necessary to say even like a stupid or, like Evia says, racist thing in order to kind of hear and then be able to even reflect, oh, but this is actually stupid. But, I wasn't even able to state it because there was such public judgment against it that I couldn't even hear myself say it. Sometimes you have to hear ourselves say something in order to actually feel how it is in this role. What am I in this role? Oh my God, I don't feel good in this role. So I don't really need to say it anymore. But before it has been even expressed to me because of public judgment, I couldn't even wear that role and feel how it is. So that all plays. It's so interesting, like in that public performance and public music, and Jive has inspired me so much because we seem to have very similar experience there. I was also performing in public so much and playing in front of people, but what was it that we were playing? What was, from which place were those songs written? This is actually what was very important to me now. So that's why I was musically silent in the last years, because I need to go deeper and to actually connect to the deeper source and deeper reason why even I make music. Because to be honest, I was making music at the time in order to, be popular, or in order to, maybe get connected with women, or just to have musician's life. And then there is one set of things that I would say through my music from that place. But what can we say from another? What could be a deeper reason that we even express? That's actually what we are experimenting with now.
Mm-hmm. And so when you dwell with the perspective of whatever your current issue or talent in the voice matter is, and when you bring it down to the second chakra and examine, so about this engagement with others, if you already have a voice and then you are confident being part of this society, well, this is amazing, because then the whole flow will be beautifully established and you'll be received just the way you are and without judgment, because it's just free sharing. But if there is this non-resolved second chakra filter on your voice, there is no way to bypass it, because it will always hit what the others will say, how will they hear me, and what if they don't like? So it will always be this back question, how will they like me? It's all about the seduction. Will they like how I sing, or will they not? So it's super, super important to examine it from the aspect of the second chakra. And there's one important fear that is sitting already there, which comes from completely, you know, our instinctive nature. And I don't know, was it Bella who said that actually why people freeze in public, or some, you know, in large groups, because in ancient times, if you found yourself in a situation of being in the middle, you are most likely, you know, eaten or beaten to death or stoned or something. So it was never a good thing to be kind of one in the middle of everyone else. Yeah. So being singled out was bad news somehow since very early times of humanity.
That's
So
point.
yeah. So there's this primordial fear of being singled out, yeah, associated to bad outcome, and we have to be mindful of that as well. And when we don't feel like we have something to say in public, well, again, Pepe's technique, breathe. Understand that it's a different you, different time, different setting, and different purpose, and to release this first surge of, you know, this stage fright is a surge of mechanical energy. There's no reason for it. There's no explanation for it. It's mechanical because of this primal, you know, quality of fear. So breathing through it gets this layer out of the way.
Well, that's like the, this is one of the suggestions. It's always breathing. Yeah, breathing is one suggestion, but this points towards actually having to heal the second chakra in order to move on. So, you know, we cannot give the recipe right now fully, but literally in order to liberate the voice, we need to go chakra by chakra and actually healing what's in there until we get to the healthy throat chakra, and actually even go above and heal the 6th and 7th chakra, so that the actual message can come through from some higher place. So what we are suggesting is that we have to keep clearing all of the other ones in order to actually finally clear the throat as well. Hannah wanted to add something. Do you still want to say it, or it's now past the moment?
No, I just wanted to speak into this, you know, like expressing freely and letting the inner clown out, because I had this wow moment. I was in Germany and I spent over a month at my mom's house, which hasn't happened in I don't know how long, how many years. And I could see it needed the setting that no one else was there, just her and me. And I would not only make any sound and say anything, sing anything, like I didn't even know what I wanted to say, but also in terms of movement. Because I think like with talking, I can be really funny with my friends and let that freedom happen. But it also happened like making random movements and dancing, and I can't even dance. And it was so liberating and so freeing. And I could really, really observe that as soon as, I don't know, my sister would join or her partner, that energy was kind of dead. And if it was just her and me, I could experience how healing that is. If we just let it all out and kind of it's like really like a purge, and then kind of starting fresh energetically for the body and for the voice, and just also for different ideas to come through, because all the stuckness has been removed.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a part of that ridicule. Yeah. You don't have to be ridicule your whole life. You can just allow yourself a special ridicule moment, a nasty voice singing off the charts, you know, and okay, let the windows break, let the glass shatter from your bad singing. But you know, once that fearful aspect, oh my God, if I do something wrong, once it is allowed and given the mic and given the stage, okay, do it. It will be, oh, okay, well, maybe it was not that bad or that important. So, finding a place where to do that with one or several persons or a group is fantastic. And we had, remember, Victor, in Damanhur, we had a very kind of extravagant little workshop with a super experienced lady who started, okay, so, well, I don't need your names or why you are here. Yeah, okay, eventually we'll ask that question too. But let's start by,
Silly dance.
singing and dancing. And she made every single person out of 30 people that were there demonstrate a move, the most ridiculous the better, and everyone has to do that. So imagine like 30 people coming up with something crazy, including the stuck ones like me, including the ones who, would rather drop through the hole in the earth and disappear from there. But once the door is closed, you're there, and no way out. And imagine, like the most stuck out of the stuck of the stuck, they came up with a ridiculous thing. And when 30 people repeat your ridiculous move, I mean, you're thinking, okay, I thought I was ridiculous. Okay, I'm not the last one. So it's when it goes in that kind of group setting where everybody's allowed, and it's actually the purpose to be a little bit silly and off. The healing is instant. It takes exactly those 15 minutes to understand that nothing in its life is too serious anyways.
Yeah, for that layer to be released. So yeah, that was a great exercise. Yeah, making 30 people do the silliest possible move and everybody else following the same one and then going through the whole group. So there you go. From in 10 minutes, the second chakra problem is dissolved. But Hannah, you bring the interesting point. When her husband comes in, the energy is completely blocked again. So you see, there are persons that hold captive this possibility that we have, and kind of the wall comes right back on when they show up. So it's interesting to observe how that blocked second chakra, how that energy can come up or dissolve really at the moment's notice, depending who is there. My judgments are back up with this person. I have not been able to be silly.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the second chakra also has very important color for our expression, which is the sexuality. So the speed of talking, the intonation, everything is like a love-making direct live through somebody's voice. And the hurry, like talking too much or too fast, is a sign of this insecurity and insecurity about our own sexuality. So it's an indicator of not being in synchronicity with one's own that inner fire, inner energy. Because what happens when the fire burns too fast? It's like a match. It's like and down. So what we want is a steady, stable, and warm, and sustainable fire. Some people just talk so fast and try to say maximum amount of words in short period of time. And well, it does sound unsexy to begin with, but it also doesn't. It creates a buzz energy around. So when we are able to kind of breathe into that second chakra and find that groove, like the body movement, that flowing seaweedy, hips movement. And if we can speak the way we groove, like that, it's so relaxing and it creates complete comfort, and and it holds everyone in a field, and you can feel the difference. You saw when Pepe talks, well, he talks like that. He talks in this steady, groovy way, and that is the field from where we can transmit more than words. If we're, how you said, shooting with
machine gunning the words, and Anna is adding that she was doing that as well. Yeah, it's interesting, this connection. I'm really happy that you're making it, that it's actually about sexuality. It's a second chakra, and men will know that in a Western society there is this anxiety of sexual performance. So as the same as being in front of the mic and not finding any words, men have this anxiety that being in front of like the sexual act and not being able to perform, so that they are not, physically ready to perform because of that fear, whether I'm going to be able to perform. So there is that almost like epidemics of this stage fright in sexuality among Western men. So that various, erection drugs are being sold as a patching to that. But it's very, very similar. Do I have the divine energy that is going to guide me through what I'm about to say and about to do is really crucial here. Do I trust the flow? And am I comfortable at being at this earth, whatever might come, the speech. Somebody had really a beautiful, I don't remember from whom I heard it, but like the great healing can happen, like a great healing session. You can give it only if you are ready that nothing happens at that session, so that you kind of come in front of the mic. And it's okay to also not say anything. It's okay that if it's a right moment, that maybe nothing needs to be said. So it's a trust to the world, trust in of the environment, trust of the people in the right moment. And then things start happening naturally. Then this wall is being dissolved.
And it is the charisma. So, there are many public speakers who are saying, beautiful combination of words, transmitting the right idea, but you somehow cannot remember what they said because it doesn't, it goes through the mind. They have perfectly mentally combined the speech. But what the charisma, where the audience is sitting like, without moving, without breathing, and whatever they say, doesn't matter what they say, you just want to stay in that field and breathe in that vibration. That is a person speaking from a very healthy second chakra, and charisma and charm comes from one's own connection to the inner fire, to the inner sexual flow, where this where this field can actually give the color to the voice and modulate the speed.
Yeah.
So that is a successful public speaker who can manage to find that. And singing the same thing in that playlist. And thank you, Hannah, so much for putting it together. It's a great playlist. It's somehow the best of best everything. And when you hear some songs of that playlist, for example, when you're attracted to hear somebody's voice, for example, that French girl singing, well, you feel that it's much more than music or words. It's her being herself and connected to this inner charisma, which is the inner sexuality.
It's amazing, guys. That sexuality is so amazing in that in this topic, because that French girl singing is, it's a pure joy, and you're really almost making love to her while listening, and she's making love to you through her expression, through the voice. And same goes with the guy who is singing and playing drums. You have noticed, this is the male version of this. He's teasing, he's so like free, he's like such pleasure to watch, because he's just being himself and a little cheeky, a little humorous, teasing everybody around, teasing the whole audience. Oh, I thought you were my more cultured audience. You wouldn't want such like a low cursing song. But anyway, so he's like teasing the whole group there for choosing that one song that has a little bit the language that is maybe not appropriate for that moment. So they are in their freedom, in their expression, that they are fully themselves and teasing and humorous and beautiful. So that's how the healthy second chakra expresses itself through the music.
And the healthy second chakra compliments, for example, are true blessing for everyone who receives them, because they carry actually the acknowledgement and the healing vibration, because anyone who has a healthy second chakra will encourage the others the way that's really helpful. Instead of saying, yeah, but you have a great voice, you can sing, of course you can, like, just open your mouth and do it. That is a disconnected advice. Yeah, but someone with a established second chakra will find the right words for that particular person, or will just invite or hold the field or hum along or something, because it's also creating that empathic field of understanding how could it be difficult or complicated for the person to open up. So that's the place from where we can hold a safe field for someone else to overcome, and kind of blueprint the right vibration to heal it.
I will send these two music playlists, the French girl and this American guy, for all of you who haven't been part of the other group, so that you can kind of get into that vibe.
So Miriam, yeah, great question. Is speaking and singing from the second chakra through the heart to the throat? Yeah, so if it's pure speaking from the second chakra, this is seduction. This is straightforward seduction, and it has only one purpose, yeah. But when
most of the Western music right now is actually coming, it doesn't even go higher. It stays there at the level of sexuality. This is, I'm in love with your body. How does it go?
I want you, I need you. Oh, this is all sorts of wounds.
I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. So this is the thing. This is the level of the second chakra. Never went any higher up. We are singing about how I'm in love with your body and we would like to have sex and stuff like that. It doesn't go past that.
Yeah, so ideally, yes, we do add the heart on the top of the second chakra, yes.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it has to all work together, yeah. But if we want to cultivate our speech and cultivate the way the message comes through, then settling in that, how comfortable you are in the world, and then connecting to that inner fire, finding the groove, finding the rhythm, and then adding the heart vibration on it, and then saying.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm asking this because I had an experience many years ago with a group of people that each one of us would step in front and just sing from the heart, and toning, no words or whatever. And it was so powerful and so touching. But now I think, oh yeah, but that was singing from the heart. So did it start at the second chakra or not? Or how did that go? But I remember it was amazing. It was amazing. People just standing there and singing, singing from the heart.
Yeah, it had to go through the second chakra, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't even be comfortable to share in a group. So that part that you were comfortable to share in a group came from that safety, that it's okay. Otherwise, the elevator would get stuck at the second floor and wouldn't even be able to go up.
Yeah, otherwise it would be like me in Astria's workshop, Miriam, you were part of it. And there's this point where you kind of download your code and you have to sing something in light language. I said, oh my God, light language, sing something, like the all worst things happening in one moment. And I don't know what happened. I think my insecurity like killed itself. So something else came in and did it. But it's really, I mean, if that is not there, you won't be able to open your mouth. You would just, yeah, fall through the ground. Yeah.
Or another version would be, if you were overconfident, then it wouldn't come from the heart. It would come from the mind. So you have these two always, you know, for the shy people, they wouldn't be able to say anything. For the unshy people, they would say too much and from the mind and not from the heart.
Yeah. The heart can have the voice of its own, of course, and the heart can sing beautifully, but for it to be like efficient or in public or broadcast or something, other alignments are very helpful.
Yeah.
So and yeah, so especially the singing, very, very strong connection to the second chakra, but the not singing has a very strong connection to the third chakra. So I'm thinking particularly of you, Gergana, with like your mom said that you can't sing. So it's immediately robbing you of the power to sing. It's not about who you are. It doesn't question that you're a bad person if you can't sing, but it's robbing you of power of expression, of power to be allowed to say things or to create or to and it goes for any kind of creativity, because the singing is just you know, the spontaneous emotions coming out. So the same way as it's denied for singing is denied for even expressing emotions, even crying, even screaming, even being angry in public, any kind of expression that comes with expressing your power over the situation. So what it does, and I know all about it, what it does is you're powerless. When you have to scream, you can't. When you have to cry, you can't. When you have to anything, you can't, because your power has been denied expression in the material world. That's why, Eve, it's great that your kids are allowed to scream, because it's super, super healthy. That the kids can experiment their power over the world through screaming, which then turns into eventually singing. And if they're not cut off, of course, it can also have this other side. The shy people will be completely blocked of any expression, and the non-shy people will be throwing themselves all over the place and over exaggerating with expression. And so the third chakra, the personal power, is the one that allows us to say powerful words, like short statements, but that happen so in the right time that they have an impact on people. And it can be a little song, it can be one note, it can be anything, but the power is what gives the impact. How, it can be confetti or it can be atomic bomb. That's the range of impact of one sound, and it is directly connected to the power chakra and what you were told when you were little about your impact to the world. Of course, don't shout, don't scream. I'm thinking about you, Zane, who was the loudest kid in the neighborhood. And then it flipped completely over because that power was somehow shut down, and then suddenly you find yourself that you can't even speak properly, you can't even speak loud even if you had to. And dealing with the power issue can hugely open the voice. And let's say, even putting the whole singing idea aside, if just feeling that solar plexus, feeling the power and giving it a voice to begin with, like just, you know, saying, how does it sound? Open the mouth and let something come out. But only thinking about solar plexus and not about singing, just giving it a sound. And probably it has to, for like a deep wound, it has to cross first the field of screaming, or, you know, this primordial scream that you were denied when you were little. And it has to break out somehow to begin with, and then it stabilizes in this balanced power.
Yeah.
And you know, screaming, when you have 4 kids, and you know, Zane is one of those four kids that has grown up. Actually, the loudness and the screaming was the way to kind of fight for your place under the sun. So it's essential. It's all a power game. The one who, you know, you can see in a group, yeah, there's always that one who takes over with questions, or who takes over with the loudness of the voice, or who takes by non-stop speaking something. It's about the power, it's a grabbing power, and the voice and speech and singing is the way to grab the power. So unaligned power in singing and speaking, we know all about it. Those are people who don't respect the proportions of kind of sharing the power in the group, and they just want to take it all, or dictators who want to have it all for themselves. So and that's why their speech is completely disempowering others. So the one who in their speech is disempowering the other is actually super disempowered himself, and trying to assert their power by kind of diminishing the others. So very important to understand, if we find ourselves, you know, belittling someone, actually it comes from our own weakness in that area. Because a strong person, I don't know if you have seen that new kids movie Cruella. So that new, like, super kind of eccentric fashion designer, she says, I'm attracted to your power, you know, I want to be powerful like you. And that main character, the nasty baroness, she says, well, if you want to be powerful, it means already that you're not. Yeah. And it's people who are talking about being powerful, or they have to tell that they're powerful, or they want to be powerful. As she said, if you're talking about it, that means you are not. People who are truly powerful, they don't have a need to confirm or speak about it in any ways.
Yeah, like one of the American presidents, I think Teddy Roosevelt, said it in really short sentence: speak low and carry a stick. This is their version of, like, you don't have to speak really loud. You just have to, your power is emanating and you can actually speak very low.
And you see, like, teachers, you all had those teachers that were disrespected. They always had to scream. Yeah, like those second language teachers or PE teachers, you know, like those non-important teachers. Nobody listens to them because they don't have personal power, so they have to scream. And then there is that one teacher that enters the room and silence is happening by itself because of the personal power. The more of the personal power, the less you have to say something. It happens in the aura, yeah? And the words are just kind of adding, you know, adding details, yeah? But the real power doesn't happen through words. No matter what you say, it's like a kitten roaring versus a lion standing silent, you know? Although our kitty is very scary.
Our kitty is so scary that I have to actually play out that I'm very scared of her so that her feelings are not hurt. Yeah, like as Miriam says, and people who are insisting that they're enlightened, they're certainly not. Well, of course, yeah. If they have to say it, then it's very questionable. Okay, so these are the first 3 chakras. So you see how much material is it even there to have a proper foundation to even go up to the heart. Because in the heart, that's going to be the next one, is from where we actually start to have the real reason to even use the voice. So once that we have healed and aligned the first three chakras, now we can take the elevator up to the heart and actually start empowering what we have to say or sing with our emotions. And that's actually the big thing, and part of the magical formula of creation is that there is a word, there is a vibration, and there is a emotion or a feeling. These three things combined are actually able to create things out of thin air. So the heart part produces the emotion. And so what happens when you go up into the heart area is that we are actually then connecting with the world at the level of vibration that we are at. And this is actually now it's starting to get interesting, because before that was really being even able to say things, but now it's starting to get interesting. It's from which level are we actually speaking and singing? From the heart, we could connect to the level of humanity, and we can connect to, like a love and sentimental feelings, and part of the popular culture that is not stuck at sex gets to the maximum at the level of sentimentality. And this is, all of those like Latin American salsa songs and, like fado and everything that we have heard that is really, like heartbreaking little human dramas. He has left me, she has left me, I need you, you need me. And this is one level where we can be. And quite a bit of classical music also stays at that level, especially, like the Romantic period. But Bach is going above that. So Bach's music is connecting to the higher realms. So our heart actually will define to what level of life, what level of human interaction, what level of our place in the universe we are speaking from. Are we speaking from being hurt? Are we speaking from being jealous? Are we speaking from these lower emotions? Or are we connecting to maybe the intention of healing or feeling the whole humanity? Are we connecting to loving universal love? And are we then connecting just to the human experience of this moment, or maybe we are speaking to the humans in their entire history? So we can completely detach from the time, for example, and connect to the whole history of humankind and have an intention of being a playful manifestation of the universe in the body of my humaneness now, and we speak to the humans. Mm-hmm. Another level can be that we don't even limit ourselves to just the human race. And we connect to the level of from where the whole planet has been created, including humans and plants and everything else on this planet. And we start creating from that place. And this is now when things start getting more powerful.
Yeah, and the heart is the place where you can start choosing a personal expression or transpersonal expression. If the first three chakras it's about your personal voicing out, yourself, Then in the heart, you can go on kind of expressing your grief, your emotions, your hurts, like whatever heart is holding the personal, on the personal level. Well, it's sang out, like those Bulgarian women, you know, singing a very kind of sentimental or
Mysteries of Bulgarian voices, those harmonizing Bulgarian singers. This is really amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, but at the same time, when we measure it vibrationally, it's quite specific. It's not enlightening. You know, it's translating some sort of condition, life condition, let's say. But when it's transpersonal, let's say the gospels and the song like Amazing Grace, when we did our experiment of testing the frequency of everything we could think of, like there were two things that were standing out, that were actually starting to be at the level of instant healing. One was Amazing Grace, because it's probably composed and sang on a transpersonal level. And the other one was Bach, music of Bach, because it was also composed from the space of transcendental kind of, transcendental translating.
Bach was composing music as his direct prayer was, may he be a vessel for the divine voice. So this is from which place he has even composed. He has never intended the music to be just for humans. He would open himself and say, okay, may the God speak through me, with full devotion and full, it was obvious for him that this is the only way to create, and with full reverence for the divine. And that's why that music is completely cosmic and devoid of any sentimentality. Like there is no, nothing of a lower realm of emotions in it at all.
Yeah, and you can see, for example, when you hear some songs, they resonate with you very strongly at a certain period of your life, where it's a complete emotional match of somebody singing out your pain or your joy. And then there are like permanent values where the music always brings something new, something different, and resonates differently. So, and that depends from the space where they were created from, personal or transpersonal. So when we say singing from the heart, what we most ideally mean is giving your voice to the divine, which uses your aligned system to add the beauty and the miracle and the harmony on the top of what you already have achieved as a human. And this is this alchemical combination where, you know, people who sing or speak and others just get goosebumps and are completely transported, because there is something else that adds on our humanness and creates this magic that's happening through the voice.
And it's really interesting to see what happens when we connect to that level of creation. I'm going back to Bach and analyzing some of his lines, musical lines, has been compared to the musical lines of singing birds. Somebody has recorded singing birds and actually slowed down the recording and listened tone by tone what the birds do. And they found out that it's a similar themes as, you know, Bach has composed in his music. So it appears that the same higher voice is speaking through these creatures. Birds, of course, you know, having developed their voice as their main way to attract, to socialize and mate. So it means and actually as the expression of beauty. So the divine expresses beauty, and absolute beauty. Wherever we see beauty, we see the voice of the divine. When we look at the flower, this is the voice of the divine that is creating this. So harmonious singing of birds is the expression of the divine harmony. And these creatures are so simple and open that they embody that divine creation right through them. And then Bach's music was somewhat compared to that.
Mm-hmm. So, well, that's about the heart. Of course, there's a lot more to it, but it can only be explored in the context of everything else being kind of smooth and running. The heart gives the amplitude and intensity to what we transmit. Yeah. Sometimes when you say like, oh, it came from my heart, you know, when you said from the heart, those can be like bursts and spontaneous moments of alignment, but it's a possible state of being if we really pay attention to it. But then, so where it has to come out from is still the throat chakra, because everything else can be there and then it just doesn't come out. Because here, oh my God, like in that implant work, what we have found as interferences specifically on the throat, on the neck, it's an unimaginable amount of cords and stabs and slits, and anything that has been done to the collective freedom of speech throughout history of humankind is all there, and we carry part of it as a personal kind of soul history or collective echo of being really severely damaged by having said something that in the wrong place. And like never ever it has been safe to speak one's truth, because most probably if it was the wrong word, the result was death, and more or less horrible death, and it all has scarred people for many lifetimes to come, and it's a very deep healing.
So here we are entering the realm. The first three chakras we have talked about the blockages that are in our personal history. Now, through the heart and the throat, we are talking about blockages to our true expression that are part of the collective history. So when we spoke about the choir of the Bulgarian women singing, it's amazing, beautiful harmony. But what it also carries with it is the specific historic moment and, like collective way of seeing things and way of, collective struggle of that people. So this is, people who just listen to that harmony, they don't necessarily need to understand the words, but that collective suffering through the history and collective way of how the culture works is imbued in that music. And this is something that we are not always able to be aware of, that we hold this collective blockage in ourselves that is sometimes almost like filtering out how wide our vocal expression can be, because it goes through the suffering of particular people that we belong to. So now these are the next levels that need to be dissolved. We need to dissolve the history of the people of where we physically originated, and to raise to the level of healed humanity. And this is where we start healing humanity with our voice.
Yeah, and it starts with us individually.
Exactly. If we are able to reach the place where we are beyond that human history of my people, then we sing from the place where the receiving end can get healed as well, because they're hearing what we are singing from the place above and beyond the hurt of the people to whom I belong.
and it's very interesting, like the throat chakra itself. I was really intrigued by Sadhguru's perspective on throat chakra, because he says in their system, for example, they work on all other chakras, but they're not empowering yet the throat chakra, because it is actually the seat of our divinity. It's seat of our true power. And that's why it has been the most kind of damaged all over the centuries. And in Hindu, that Vishuddhi literally means a filter. So what kind of filter? You remember we've been talking since years about, you know, how toxic is vibration of this, vibration of that, the food, people, thoughts, everything that actually can lower our
I think we
frequency and vibration, and how we have to be discerning and
we are losing you, Evie. You have to maybe go back to your mobile phone connection.
I am on mobile phone connection, yeah.
Now
So
we hear you again. So
yes.
say this last sentence once again.
So the throat chakra is in Hindu, it's called Vishuddhi, and it means a filter. So the filter of for now we have to, our filter is discernment of what we eat, where we go, what kind of environment, what kind of people, because we're leaking energy from everything that we touch, we look, we do. But the Vishuddhi, the throat chakra filter, is actually something, when that is on, you can be anywhere, eating anything, doing anything, talking anything, because you're so established within your being that nothing in the world, you can drink poison and it will still do nothing. There's nothing from outside that can ever poison you, because of that, how established you are in your being. And it gives such a tremendous power that in those very occult circles, it's very carefully selected to whom the true chakra, throat chakra opening is given, because it gives such immense powers, including occult powers. So the occult powers coming from the root chakra are the ones, you know, the black magic and wanting to control the world and, you know, having a grab hold over the matter. But the occult powers coming from throat chakra reveal the power that we have to change the world with the primordial sounds, the right alignment of everything else in our body. You know, the world was created from a sound. Maybe there was some force that said the first Om and he started creating. So if humans recover that kind of power, it cannot be given without everything else being in place. That's why in that Hindu and Sadhguru tradition, they leave that chakra for the end. When there's enough of awareness, when there's enough of connectedness, when there's enough of empathy and other things are up and running, before the power to create with words can be given. Because that power is such that, you know, words can be swords or words can heal. And that's immense responsibility of being very, very mindful with what comes out, you know, when it's connected to such an impact. And according to him, people could really create realities just by saying it out loud.
Yeah, it's not just about healing anymore. Now, when we get to this realm, it is finally becoming really gods. And not becoming gods. It's not like we have never been God. We have been gods all the time. But because of the different levels of this empowerment, we have forgotten how to be that, and we don't even dare to say it. If you tell somebody you are God, you're there, you know, children go and create. This is literally the bottom line of why we are here. It is to go and play with our possibility of creation, because the divine wants to express itself through us humans and to kind of look at what beautiful interactions can happen, what level of creativity can happen, what level of destruction can happen. It's a scary and amazing level of freedom. Everybody has exact right to do what they're doing. They have right to create wars, or they have right to create beauty, and everybody has only one role: their freedom of choice, their freedom. Everybody's free to do. People are free to sell you things. People are free to try to imprison you, and you are free to do with it whatever you want, and with your life whatever you want. So this ultimate freedom for everyone else to do whatever they feel like, and you to do whatever you feel like with your life, is now this level of the divine playfully interacting with the universe through us on seen and unseen levels. And at this level, the inner universe that mirrors the outer universe is really, the inner universe is deeper than the outer, because from the inner universe we create the outer one. And that power of creation is with literally the right thing that comes through your throat chakra can completely destroy the whole solar system, for example. It's possible. The solar system dematerializes in that level. It doesn't exist anymore in this level. So, of course, the responsibility is immense. And but the power is immense, and you are giving it by the Creator with such tremendous love that we can just be in awe that we have that much power of free will. And just imagine what you can do with your voice.
Mm-hmm. But that's why it's not so easy, and there are like at least 4 levels of locks, or 4 levels of steps. So it would be too easy if we say, okay, I'm going to create with my voice, and I just start singing.
And you mess up and the earth explodes.
No, most probably nothing will happen, really, like nothing at all. Maybe even your like neighbors will not like it that much, because there's a way to get to that creator voice, is like a little labyrinth, and you have to check all the points before that power is actually opening. So let's say you have arranged your first, second, third chakra. You're able to speak from your truth, from your core, from your sexuality, owning your full power with your full emotions. And then you come, and at the first level, you are able, let's say, the first level of alignment where you feel free, you can express your emotions and feelings freely. And that's already cool. That's actually very cool for many people, that you can freely say and you're not afraid anymore. But it's just the first level. And then the second level is you are able to say your truth, and you're not afraid of the consequences, and you're ready to die. If you're ready to have your head chopped off if you said the wrong thing in the wrong moment, according to someone who is in power. But saying one's truth is already creating repercussions, creating ripples in the reality, and creating that reality, which is your truth, and magnetizing things to it. And then the next level would be healing with your voice, healing the environment, healing people with the voice. And it's yet another level of power. But the ultimate, when you are becoming the voice of the universe, is when you embody the full consciousness through the aligned chakra system, and through all the stages unlocked.
Yeah, and at that moment, the ego has completely dissolved. You are not there if you see yourself as me.
Yeah, it's not about you at all in that stage, and it doesn't. That ultimate voice of the universe level does not unlock unless you understand that it's not about you, it's not you, it's through you.
And it's not really just understanding, it is really getting to that point, reaching the point. And we reach that point by actually going wider and wider and wider slowly through our experiences, because each of the next levels of reality is actually requiring more energy to be able to flow through us, and a lot of purging and cleansing of and deaths and rebirths on the previous levels, so that the next levels can open. So this is a spiritual journey in which we widen ourselves outside of, cannot even call ourselves me anymore. You are literally not just in words, but in experience, for example, one with whole humanity. And you actually experience that the forces that shape humanity are moving you at this moment. There's no me.
Yeah.
My experience, I'm feeling it probably as a cloud of energy that shapes the decisions of the whole humanity, and the spiritual growth of the whole humanity. And I'm completely not controlling anything, because there's no I. I am actually being played by those divine forces that are shaping the universe and humanity, and I'm allowing it to express in whichever way through me, which partially could maybe be through the voice if it decides to play my voice. So I'm an instrument of the divine forces of creation. When we say divine, I'm just this is the word that I have. We're talking about energies at a different level. So at this level, those are the collective energies that shape the evolution of the humanity. And I allow myself that these forces animate me. It's not like I even allow anything. I'm just, like do whatever you feel with me. And
exactly. It's an open invitation, but at the same time, it's very conscious, because if you do it before you have completed those power kind of alignments, like anyone can jump in and just use you or your body or your voice, because there will be something still vibrating on that frequency. But I'm thinking about you, Anne, how you are lending your voice to those who don't have voice, like the land of Bali, like the goddesses, and it's also a very, some people have a specific mission of giving voice to those who don't have, to principles, to energies, to archetypes, lending the voice to forces, and then those forces play through the person and create something in a manifest, because what we can do with the body is very limited, but the voice is somehow, the people who channel beings, why do they channel beings? By speaking, because this is the way how non-material beings can interact in a physical plane. And that's another feature that requires quite a bit of surrender and purity to be able to host it. So that's the little parkour of how to get.
I want to just add the top level of expression according to Buddhist and Hindu and many of the traditions, and this is the pure void, or the womb, like divine womb, like goddess womb or pure void. This is, or what Chris Beisch calls diamond luminosity. So the deeper and wider that we go in these levels or universal levels of creation, previous levels just disappear. And for example, everything that we see around us, and at level of stepping in diamond luminosity, the reality around us that we have experienced and seen folds like the cards. And what stays is just the huge light, expression of light. It's like this, it's comparable to light. So that the material world is just one of the options of the divine expressing itself among many other options. And at that level, there is this absolute oneness with everything, and the intent and benevolence of the ultimate divine intention to create. And at that level, everything, like worlds, and it's like almost the zoom levels. When you zoom in and zoom out, it's like really choosing at which level you're going to play. Are we going to play at the level of the planet? Are we going to play at the level of the universe? Are we going to play at the level completely outside of any material expression that we have seen? Clouds of energies collapsing and like waving with each other. So it's really choosing the level of zoom. And at that level, okay, let me experience the universe at this particular level. So from that diamond luminosity, we also call it the 0 point, or a point of infinite possibilities. From this point, literally, reaching this point can change completely who we are, because we have innate remembrance of that point, each one of us. If you think right now this is too far-fetched, just know that you have the memory, you have a remembrance of this level, and it's in you. And it's really, all you need to do is go deeper and deeper and deeper until you actually manifest that remembrance experientially. It's inside of you, and you can experience it if this is what your intention is ultimately. And getting there is by clearing slowly the wounds on all of these previous levels. So you will probably have to go through some pain of seeing some awful things that humanity has done to itself, and kind of understand, okay, this had to happen, I'm witnessing it, I'm going deeper, then to actually experience the humanity dying at certain level, in order that a wider version of our humanity can manifest itself, and be okay with that. These are painful moments, but we have to go through them, and that the pain that we will feel is actually purification on that particular level. Because after that pain comes the next level, until we reach the level of diamond luminosity, and that level we can really feel why we are here, and how beautiful and how limitless, and how, like, by that time you will have died and being reborn so many times, that fear of that will be the thing of the past, because we have died already and being reborn so many times. So there's like, what do you mean fear of that? We have died so many times and reborn. There is no death. There is just, being reborn in this next level of existence, but experientially, not from the mind, but really from knowing it, that you've been there and done that. And there, then we have the level from which you want to express yourself. Then you have a full scope. And then your wise and conscious decision from which level you want to create can come about, because now we have experienced quite a range of levels. It's not the end. There are more and there's deeper, but it's maybe good for now.
Well, then let's conclude with a very short and practical advice. The easiest and the fastest way to get all these chakras in alignment is, as Pepe said, vowels, toning chakras with vowels, and establishing, be minimalistic, simple, and really tune. Of course, we don't have time to give the instruction now. Well, those who are on Pepe's course, you'll understand what we're talking about. But because the vowels are aligned with the consciousness of the heart itself, so it's very simple. It's not the words yet. It's just the sound, the primordial sounds, and that is something that will bring out these waves of, whatever needs to go, it will bring out and align everything else as you go. And, you know, eventually it will take some time to get to this diamond consciousness, but it's not impossible. If we can at least be in peace with speaking in public and saying our truth and speaking nicely and slowly and in peace with ourselves, it's already a big deal. And then we can see for what else can we do to raise our expression.
But I would say let's strive really to be the full scope of human and not really kind of be satisfied by one of the lower levels. I mean, it's really, why don't we strive to be the most that we can, you know? It's really, we have, yeah, we are here to play with the energy of the universe and to be playful with it. And so let's play with it. At, well, any level is beautiful, but let's strive to experience. Well, I personally like to travel a lot, so I'm not satisfied in not visiting all parts of the world that are possible. So maybe we can visit them in this way as well. Yeah.
Well, next time we can speak about how all these chakras go through our astrology sign. That's also interesting feature, because of course our wounds are manifesting according to what's our initial birth setting. And if there's one thing to really remember, it's that it's our own responsibility to make this happen for ourselves. And that's the proof of initiates. It's the willingness, the courage, and the energy and consistency in continual growth, one step at a time. So voila, I guess that's it for today. Oh, sweetness.
There's a beautiful being. He's there in the universe as well, creating with his sweetness. Yes, okay, well, I think...
happy toning, happy rewiring.
And be aware of these levels, guys, really, because we can be amazing creators. And yeah, let's go step by step and see how far and how beautiful we can play with this amazing experience of life that we have.
Thank you for your endurance listening. And thank you for sharing this moment with us all around the world.
Yeah, thank you for this whole scope of all different ways of looking and seeing it and experiencing it. Really nice. Especially, yeah, also for those who do the course with Pepe, you know, to make it really even more complete. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
Lots of love and enjoy the rest of your beautiful Saturday. And yeah, let's be brave and do the next right thing, whatever we can from here. Lots of love.